folks, Old Man Grognard back for another edition of this thrilling series. Today I want to talk about my favorite D&D version of D&D, the D&D Rules Cyclopedia. I like it because, one, it's all in one book, and one, it's really easy to play. Now, a little history. This was published in 1991, and it came after a third rewrite of the basic D&D rules, which was done by Frank Mentzer. Came out in 5 boxes: Basic, Expert, Companion, Mastery, and Immortals, which people shorten to BECME. And this is not BECME, but it's BEC. The Immortals rules were not included, although they do give a nice overview of Immortals in here that you can use. That was saved for a box set they put out called Wrath of the Immortals, which really doesn't affect the use of this book. This is the first 4 sets right here in one book. And the remarkable thing about it is, it's one book. Ooh. Let's see. AD&D first edition was 3 books. Second edition was 3 books. Third and fourth edition is like 3 books plus other books. And this, you can run a game out of. Actually, I'll mention another book here in a moment you can use with it. But right now, this is all you need to run this game. Now, for those of you not familiar with basic D&D, there's a few differences from advanced Dungeons and Dragons, which is the AC starts at 10 instead of 9, I believe. And race, and as far as demi-humans go, your race is your class, which really doesn't bother me. I thought it would bother me more than it does, but it really doesn't, because there's a lot of other supplements out here, and there's also like third-party stuff that you can make a class out of practically anything. But I'll tell you a little bit more about that later. And as far as this book goes, it's got some nice little subsystems in here. It's got things like what they call the war machine. And that's for running mass battles in a role-playing game, which I think is kind of good, although I don't see much use for me to use it, because I don't really run those kind of things. There's also one called Siege Machine, which is for doing sieges. Once again, I don't think I'm going to get much use out of it, but you might. There's also a couple of more subsystems in here I want to talk about. One is the weapons mastery. I don't like it. It's too complicated. It makes 2E's weapon proficiencies look like a walk in the park. Basically, you're doing the slots thing again. You know, every character knows every weapon that they're supposed to know. That's one thing over second edition. But then you can improve on certain weapons doing mastery. I mean, look at this chart. This is all the weapons and the mastery levels, if you can see that. I'm hoping you can see that. Wait a minute. There you go. Now you can see that. That is confusing as hell, and a lot to remember for the DM. Ooh, it's nighttime. Let's fix that. Anyway, my group tried it for a while, and I've got a few ups on my battle axe or whatever the heck I was using. I wrote it all down, but that was a lot to remember, and that was a lot to write down. And whenever I went into battle, I forgot half of it, and I couldn't make out what I was reading. After about 3 sessions, we said, nope, we're not going to use it. So if you can get it to work, fine. I just don't like weapons mastery. Now, skill system is different. Skills is an optional system where you get, once again, slots. Every character gets 4 slots starting out. And you use these slots to get skills. There are skills in the book. You can use those, but they said you can also do other ones. Each skill is tied to a stat. Like riding is tied to, I believe, dexterity or something like that. But whatever you buy a skill or use a slot for a skill, whatever the stat is, that's the level it's at. Now, as you get up in level, every few levels you do get more slots, so you can improve those skills. Because basically what you're doing is you're doing a saving throw for things, or rather a stat check. Was it stat check? Yeah. Basically, it's a stat check with pluses. So if you're going up and you got riding and you're doing dexterity and you put You bought it, which is 1, and put 2 more slots in it. That makes it a 3. So you get a +2 on your, say your dex is 14. Now you get to roll a 16 or less. So to do the skill. So, and it's simple like that. I like it. It's nice and simple. You know, anything that will be easier to run is where I'm at, because I'm an old Grognard. I don't want to deal with this stuff, which is funny considering I'm doing some champions for my grandsons. Anyway, anyway, this is my favorite version. I've run games out of here before. Easy peasy. Now let me tell you about another book. As far as, oh, by the way, races class. I know that kind of cuts out like multi-classing, but I've seen several articles and things on the web where you can actually turn these into classes for the demi-humans. I know it's a lot of trouble, but you know, sometimes it works out great. I've also added, I have also added gnomes. We came up with gnomes. A friend of mine, Matt, and I came up with gnomes for the Labyrinth Lord game, and I'm using that. And also I'm adding half-orcs, which I found online through my friend Mr. Spawn of Barrel Rider Games. Thank you, James. And one more thing I want to show you. This is probably the best companion book you have for the Rules Cyclopedia. It's called The Creature Catalog, and it comes in 2 flavors, like so. Now, this one here, this was the original printing of it. This was done over in Great Britain. They were both done in Great Britain, actually. And basically, this one was published in '86. So, and these are all the monsters that were in all of the modules up to that point in one book. Plus, they added more monsters in here. Now, if you can get this, great. It's really useful. But I prefer the second printing. This is the second printing. And like I said, it was done in Great Britain, and they added even more monsters in here. Even more. And this was done in, let's see, 1993 for the RC. And you see they added more monsters. I prefer this one over this one because while the artwork is prettier in this one, it's not organized as well. It's ordered in groups like monsters and humanoids, lowlifes, things like that. Nice, but this one, alphabetical, and it's got an index in the back. Can't beat that. So if I need a quick, okay, I need a giant serpent weed. Boom, there it is. This and this are many, many campaigns. Many campaigns. This is all I need. I do play other games. I do try other games. I'm in a 5th edition game right now. But this is all I want to use right here. So that's my RC. That's my Dungeons and Dragons. We'll talk a little bit about other things later, but that's where I am right now. So I'll see you next time, and